Good morning, everyone. Well, for me, it's morning. Yesterday, I had the pre-release from The Hobbit, as you can see right here. It was pretty late, so I couldn't record this at coming home from the pre-release event. So it's morning right now. That's why I look like crap. It's the first thing I'm doing in the morning. So I have a huge mug of coffee right here to wake up, and I'm making this video with you. So I'm going to talk about my experience there, what kind of deck I made, what you can expect from the Hobbit release, and that's about it. And maybe I'm not sure if it's in the thumbnail, but how many times I won. So yeah, let's get into it. So this is a pre-release box that you will get if you do the pre-release event, or if you just buy a pre-release box. It's pretty nice. It has nice artwork. I already ripped the tab, of course, but it says, "In a hole in the ground, there lived a hobbit." So it's pretty nice. And if you open it, you will be greeted with a great amount of artwork right here. So this is within Bilbo's house when everyone's, feasting and preparing to go to Smog. And then you'll have this hobbit door right here. And I didn't notice it at the time, but it is you are able to open that one, and I'll do that together with you. And this is the box that will contain all the goodies, which I will show in a minute. So right now I will punch out this door, and on the other side there will be a plate of food. Nice, typical Hobbit. And then there will be lyrics from the Misty Mountains Gold. Nice. All right, let's move on to the box here. So inside the box, there will be a spin down die right here. It's, well, among my collection right now. You will have 6 normal boosters, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now these are empty. I just kept them for my own sake. And then you have a pre-release cards pack. Normally it's card because it's, a one promo card. But in this case, you had a couple more, and I'll show you which ones you got. Will be right here in the back. No. Where are they? Where are they? Didn't I get them? Oh, here they are. They are here. So there was this promo card right here. That was for me. This one is different for everyone else. I had Philly the Pathfinder, but for the rest you have a Plains card with a Hobbit house for spring, summer, autumn, and winter. I really thought that's pretty. I mean, all these 4. And I think you can get these in the bundle as well. I also have the bundle right here that I still need to open. But in the bundle, I think you also get these. So if you don't do the pre-release or don't buy the pre-release bundle, you won't miss out if you buy another bundle. So that's the pre-release cards. And then for the decks, I mean for the other boosters, they're play boosters, so you have a chance of add multiple rares and mythics. But yeah, the archetypes in the Hobbit set, there are only 5 basically because it's a small set, and it all revolved around if you go white blue, then you will have a recruit archetype. And recruit means it's like Connive in the Marvel set, where you draw a card, discard a card. If you discard a non-land card, then you get a 1/1 white human soldier. That is the recruit ability. And then red and black was goblins, and that was mostly like working with a goblin army, the amass ability. So amass goblins in that case. And then The Boros, so white red, was based on storied, and storied, I think I have one or multiple right here. Where is it? Here, storied. Focus. If you control 3 or more artifacts, legendaries, and/or sagas, you have an enduring story for the rest of the game. And then when you have an enduring story, their ability triggers or is activated. And it's always funny that the card that has storied is almost always legendary, so you always have one. Then if you have an enchantment or a saga and a artifact, then you have an enduring story for the rest of the game, and their abilities trigger. So this one says, as long as you have an enduring story, if an ability of a dwarf you control triggers, it triggers an additional time, which is great. So Boros is based on storied. Then you had Golgari, which is green and black. That was based on the ferocious ability. I'm not sure if I have one right here, but ferocious means that if you have a creature with power or 4, whenever you attack, then the ability triggers. And that ability is like, you get a plus, oh, here it is, ferocious. So this is a death touch 2/2. Whenever this creature attacks while you control a creature with power of 4 or greater, you gain 2 life. And sometimes it's, this creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn, stuff like that. So that's ferocious. And then the last archetype, it's the one that I made. It's Simic, green-blue. And that's landfall and elves. If you follow the channel a bit, you know that I like elves. So that's the one that I went with. But I could also have gone for this part. I think these are 17 cards. Because I also had enough cards for a goblin deck. And I filled it with, other stuff. Because I did get the Smog the Great Calamity. It's a 7-drop, but you get a 5/5 flying, and you could drop 5 damage to target creature quite a bit early. But, the Great Goblin does things whenever you do something with an army. It has amass, lots of amass cards, lots of things to do with goblins. So I could have gone this way, and I was pretty excited to go this route. But my love for the elves took over. So I will now put this away and show you the deck that I made. Ta-da! Elf tokens, of course, why not? Now this was a filler card because I did not have enough cards to fill an entire deck with only elves. But I also didn't use this card. I did put this card in it for an effect of one of the other cards. But I didn't really use this one. Now, this card, it saved my life in like 6 rounds. Well, not rounds, 6 games. Because in a pre-release, you play 3 rounds. And 1 round is best of 3, basically. And the first game, I did 3 games. First round, I did 3 games. The second round, I did 3 as well. And then the third round, I did 2. Won't say the score just yet. But yeah, through the Forest Gate, you have to look at the top 20 cards of your library, put any number of land cards from among them onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. You gain 8 life. Now that you gain 8 life, that's the thing that did it for me. Not the lands, because, spoiler alert, the landfall didn't trigger due to this. But the gain 8 life part, that was enormous for me. Now, in pre-release, you create a deck of 40 cards. So looking at the top 20 cards, that was almost always the rest of the deck at that point in time. So this was absolutely phenomenal. Now, Thranduil, Cinderin Liege, this was the one that I built the deck around. So it has a adventure, mill 4 cards, then put up to 2 land cards from among them into your hand. So you can like scrounge cards or lands and put them into your hand already to trigger the upcoming landfall that comes whenever Thranduil enters the battlefield. So it says other elves you control get +1/+1. And then whenever a land you control enters, create a 1/1 elf creature token. That's great. Now imagine that if you put up like 10 lands in one turn, you get 10 elf creature tokens. And they have +1/+1. It's great. It's a really great card. This one I never pulled. I really never did. But when it says whenever a land you control enters the tap target creature an opponent controls, that's an amazing ability. It really is. Or untap a creature you control. I mean, I don't think I have a creature in here with a tapped ability, like activate ability. I don't think I do. But it could have been amazing. But I never pulled this one. Ballside Wanderers. When this creature enters, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a permanent card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest at the bottom of your library. So, if you're in land trouble, you could find a land because it's a permanent card. If you want to have Thranduil, you could search for that one. I could have searched for this one as well, but I also almost never pulled this one. So it could have been a great one for Bowside Wanderers. And then there's Landfall. Whenever a land you control, this creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Now, also imagine if you do this, like 10 lands, it gets +20/+20 until end of turn. It's insane. Mirkwood Nurturer. When this creature enters, return up to 1 other target permanent you control to its owner's hand. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. So that means that when this enters, you have to do that. It doesn't say you may. You have to return a permanent card to the controller's hand. So why did I include this one? Because it's not really great, but you do play Landfall, and you want to play as many lands as you can. And at 3, sometimes you only have 3 lands in your starter hand and you don't pull any. So what you do is you play this one with your 3 lands, and then you take a land back into your hand. So you have a land drop in your next turn. Or if it's your 3rd turn and you didn't have another land, you can play this, take a land back, and play it again. Maybe you already have a 2-drop Landfall in there somewhere. Stuff like that. So I always put a land back into my hand with this one. Then Down in the Valley. This was a game changer in the pre-release for me. So search your library for a basic land card, reveal it and put it into your hand so you have a land drop ready. Then at your 2nd turn, this saga gains Landfall. Whenever a creature or whenever land enters, you create an elf creature token, basically the same as Thranduil. And then for 3 and 4, elves you control get +1/+0 and gain Vigilance. I mean, that's amazing. So if you have Thranduil and this one on the battlefield, every land drop gets you 2 elves. It's amazing. Then we have a sacrifice land for a basic land. Basically, land drop, Landfall triggers, you sacrifice, search for a basic land, put it on the battlefield, Landfall triggers again. That's why this is in there. Then we have Galleon Elven King Butler. This is also really a great card. When Galleon attacks, choose up to 1 other target creature you control. Its base power and toughness become equal to Galleon's power and toughness until end of turn. So this is a 4/4. If you have a 1/1 elf creature token, you attack with this one and with the elf token. That elf token also becomes 4/4. What? There are cards in here that also buff Galleon, so if he is a 6/6, that token also becomes a 6/6. In pre-release, you have 20 life. In Commander, you have 40, so you can take a beating. But at a sealed event with 20 life, getting 2 creatures attack you with 6/6, that's a lot. That's 12 damage. That's more than half your health. So this was also a game changer for me. Mirkwood Pathmaker, I use this one as, destroy bait. Because this one says, power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control. If you found all of them with through the gates, through the forest gate, I mean, then this one would become 17/17. That's a lot. That's strong, a really strong creature. And then Troll Negotiations. This was the one that I said put 2+1/+1 counters on target creature, and then it fights target creature an opponent controls. When it says fights, your creature deals damage to the other creature, but when it fights, that creature also deals damage to your creature. So they clash, like in combat. So doing this with a death dot creature is not a good idea, but if it's just a creature with lower health and lower attack than the creature you selected, then it's great. You destroy that creature, that's fine. But there is another card, which I will find a bit later, that does something different, so keep that in mind. Riddles in the Dark. Look at the top 4 cards of your library and separate them in a face down pile and a face up pile. Oh. Okay, I made a mistake yesterday, but it's fine. So an opponent chooses one of the piles, put that pile into your hand. What I did was I put them both face up. Might have been a mistake. But yeah, one face up and one face down pile, that's actually much better. Holy hell. Read the card explains the card, right? So you look at the top 4 cards, and then you can choose. This one is a really great card. Will I put it face up for them to see, to put in my graveyard? Maybe you can recur them. Or do I put it face down and have them have the anxiety of, would there be a great card in there? But maybe you have 2 great cards. You put one in the face up pile and one in the face down pile. And then they look at the face up pile and they're like, oh, that card I really don't want. I put that in the graveyard. But the face down card might have something really good as well. So mind games. It might not have been a big deal yesterday, but when I did this, I had 3 lands and a draw a card card. So I put, well, 2 lands and I couldn't do anything different. So he put the one with the draw a card in the graveyard. But I work with lands, so having 2 more lands in my hand, it wasn't that bad. So that was Riddles in the Dark. War Tactics. Now for a 2-drop, you can either destroy a target creature with flying, or you can put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. It gains trample and hexproof until end of turn. You can save a creature if it gets targeted. You can destroy a creature with flying, like if they play a Smog or something. They play a dragon, destroy it with a 2-drop. Not a 2-drop, a 2 instant. It's not a permanent. Or you can strengthen with a +1/+1 counter and then have them, fight a different creature. That's also something. I did that because this is a 4 and that's a 2. Well, I actually used a different card, but I strengthened it and then I fought a different card, a different creature to destroy it because that creature that I fought didn't have flying. But yeah, that's actually a good card. Now, Elven King Harper. I also use this one as bait. For 5, target creature can't be blocked this turn. It is a high cost. I have to admit, it is a high cost. If it was like 3 or something, oh man, this would have been a rare or something. But 5 for target creature can be blocked. Now imagine that I had that one, this one. If I had like 6 lands, it becomes a 6/6, and at turn 6, having this one available, you can make it unblockable. So you pay 5, make it unblockable, 6 damage. I mean, it can be really painful to play against this. Then of course a dual land, and then Winterland Scrounger. I put this card in it, although it had Ferocious. I mean, whenever this creature attacks while you control a creature with power of 4, I have a couple that already have power of 4, and then with the +1/+1s that you can put on there, I easily could get 4 power. So whenever this one attacks, when you have a creature with power 4 or greater, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Now think about the fact that we have Thranduil, that Saga that will create elf tokens whenever you, put a land on the battlefield, that's a lot of +1/+1 counters. Guardian of the Halls, this was kind of bait, but it does take a while before you get there. I never got to pull this off. But a trample 2/2 with 7 mana, you can put 3 +1/+1 counters on this creature. So if you have a lot of land drops and maybe you, well, not in the pre-release, but you have something that untaps lands every now and then, you can do this. You can do this a lot. Then I didn't have any 1-drops except for this one, and that was just to scry and like fix my draws for the next couple of turns, because this one at 1 mana of any color, it's not good. And then 7 tap, sacrifices artifact, destroy target permanent. I mean, 7 mana for destroy target permanent. You can destroy lands. I mean, you can destroy anything, but it is really pricey. And then I had confiscate and bebother. I had it twice. It's a 3 mana spell for choose one, either counter target spell unless the controller pays 4. I mean, at turn 3, they don't have 4 or extra 4. So this is a really good early turn counter spell. Or you can draw 2 cards and discard a card. I had 2 of them because then I could either choose to draw a card before they end their turn, for instance, if I don't want to counter the spell, or I counter the spell. Then I only had 1 other reach with this, which is the next one. But I didn't have any flying, so I needed something that could reach creatures in the sky, and then I put Large Bear in there. It is a 5-drop, but it is a 5/5, so it evened out a little bit. It had reach, trample, and haste. So could have been something, but I only played this once to block a dragon. That was it. Plunder the Troll Shaws. This is a great draw card. You a 2-drop for draw a card, and if it was cast from their graveyard, because it has flashback, you draw 2 instead. They always exile this whenever I had it in my graveyard. So we have a Addercop, reach, Death Touch, and whenever a land enters the battlefield, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. This also helped me a lot because this was on the battlefield when I grabbed like 10 lands from through the forest gates, which made it become an 11/11. That did a lot. Wood Elves, great card for Elf Landfall. You put this on the battlefield and you search for a forest card and put it onto the battlefield. It doesn't say tapped. So that's important. It doesn't say tapped. Really great. If it was like a 2-drop, then the rarity would be much higher, but great card. And then Plural, this was the one that I talked about earlier. Target creature you control deals damage to its power, equal to its power to target creature opponent controls. Now the deals damage does not mean it fights. So you can deal damage to a Death Touch creature and it doesn't die. So great card as well for 2. And that was my deck. Now the first round I played 3 games and I won the first game, lost the second, and then in a pinch won the third game. Why? Because the first 2 games took so long. He had like this big dragon drop thing and I couldn't do anything about it, but he didn't dare to attack me because I did have reach and other stuff. So there was a lot of going back and forth in each of those games, and by the third game we only had like 6 or 8 minutes left, and we were like, play, we have to go, we have to do this. And he made the mistake to say at like the last minute left to say, I attack with everyone, but I had defense for everything. So I was like, I blocked this with that, blocked this with that, and that, and everything of his died and nothing of mine was destroyed. So I was like, okay, untap, attack. and that was it. I think he might have misread what happened, because he had this worm that says if you attack with creatures and the total power is 12 or greater, then you have an additional combat. So he was like, oh, I attack with everything, and then I can attack again afterward. But he didn't account for the fact that his creature could die in the first half. So I won that first round. The second round was against a really great opponent that had a, I think it was a Golgari deck with like Amass Goblins and Ferocious. And I won the first, lost the second because he did have great creature drops, and then I won the last as well, but all within the time frames. And then the last one, because in pre-release, whenever you go against someone, it's either well, the first round is just everyone faces someone different, but the second round is if you won a game, you play against someone that won a game, and then I think the rest is just jumbled. If you won 2 rounds, then the third round you play against someone that also won 2 rounds. That's how that works. So I played against someone that also played or won 2 rounds, and he had such a good deck. He also played so professionally, like I tapped this, and he was really formal about his plays. And then I think at turn 4, he had an extra land drop. He was like, the Arkenstone. I was like, oh, what? He also had creatures that were so strong, and I didn't have the correct draws. So yeah, the Arkenstone gives creatures +1/+1, and you get to draw a card at the end of your turn. So he had an extra draw advantage and stuff like that. So I was like, I scoop. And then the second game, it was more of the same. I countered one of his spells, and he was like, oh, you made me paranoid. So I did have the second counter in my hand, and I always kept 3 lands untapped, not meaning to counter anything, but he played really careful, and he played really good cards because he showed that he drew the Arkenstone, so I knew he had it. And then he played like this fat spider, I think its name was, a 6/7, and I was like, 6/7. And I was like, I think I need to counter this one, but he has the Arkenstone, and it was 11 o'clock already, so I was like, I want to counter the Arkenstone, but I didn't account for the fact that it was a 6/7 creature, and he had another 4/4, so he just attacked, and I was like, oh man, I don't have enough blockers. So I died in the game though. And so yeah, that was my experience. I did won these 2 packs, so I will open them as a short that will be upcoming this week. And I will also make a video about opening the bundle, and then show you what's in the bundle. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. This was a long video rambling about a pre-release event. Hope you liked it. If you did, leave a comment, like, subscribe if you want to see more. And until then, play Magic, tell stories, and hold priority.